So great to see you all here in person. As the panel, who I'll introduce in a moment, take their seats, everybody can put their notebooks away. You don't have to write anything down. I know that lots of you are quite interested in some of the facts, stats and data over the last couple of years. If anybody is curious about who watches, when they watch, what they watch on, how long they watch, where they're watching, and all that kind of good grist for media planning, it's available straight off our website. We do a fact pack once every 6 months. So for all of you who thought you were going to have to write like crazy, you don't. And with that, I'll get on and introduce my panel. When Sam spoke to us about the opportunity to come and talk to you, I grabbed effectively the ThinkTV board. So Nev Hasan from Foxtel, Natalie Harvey from 7, Richard Hunwick from 9, and Lisa Squillace from Paramount. And we sat down, we had a conversation and said, look, what after 2 years, what do we want to do? And we worked through a whole bunch of things. Most of them involved them not coming and me presenting, which I didn't think was a great idea. And where we're going to settle today is a conversation that will do 3 things, focusing on how you can unlock the opportunities for big and small clients inside your agencies, showing simple and cost-effective ways that you can use television to drive brand and business growth for your clients. And then we'll talk a little bit about the support that we're going to offer independent agencies. But like any good media channel, it all comes down to audience. I might open with you, Richie. Can you tell me how TV audiences are doing and what you expect them to do over the course of the next 12 months?
Yeah, of course. And thank you for having us. This panel should require another ton of carbon to be offset, I would imagine, but we'll get through. Audience. Look, I think audience trends in television are very, very interesting at the moment. I think, we've seen some ups and downs over the last 2 years. Clearly COVID and people being locked in at home, the first thing they did was turn the TV set on, which was great. It's fantastic for us and we saw that grow. And as we've come out, it's been up and down a little bit, but I think the interesting thing is what we're starting to see now is linear TV level out a little bit. We've seen some years of decline as the market's fragmented. But we're starting to see linear TV level out in a positive fashion. Let's remember that the conversation now isn't just linear, and you're going to hear a lot from the rest of this panel about that, but it's linear, live stream and on demand. But linear is the core because it drives reach at velocity, and you're talking about bounce back, and for your clients, the ability to get out and get your message out there is incredibly important, and linear TV continues to do that better than anything else, and Kim's and the ThinkTV board have proven that. Through the back half of last year, we saw audiences probably 3 or 4 points down on most demos, which was reasonably positive when you consider some of the structural change. We'd had State of Origin and football finals running long and that sort of thing. But I'm really pleased that in the first quarter of this year, for the first time, we've actually seen linear audiences for the 3 free-to-airs grow. People 25 to 54, total people, audiences for January, February, March are actually up year on year, being driven by peak night ratings. If you look at the weighted average, it's up and it's positive, and it's because people are investing. We're starting to see things like sport drive audiences, and I know Nev and the investment that Foxtel have made with KO, and we're seeing that with the football. We're holding reasonably well over the last 4 or 5 years. Nev's audiences are growing in that space, and I think generally audience is in good shape. It's in really good shape, and it's a narrative that's been decline. To see a quarter that's up, and there's some special things in there, and there's some event stuff in there, but it's great to see audiences increasing in linear whilst the BVOD and live streaming market is growing so quickly.
So if only there was a journalist in the room who could write that linear TV is growing, but we'll come back to that.
I can give you a source on that as well if you need one.
So linear audience is growing, but as you rightly identify, it's not the whole picture. We know video is important. All of you are seeing growth in that. Nat, talk to me about what you and Seven, and in fact the industry, are seeing that would be benefit to our indie mates around how that audience is composed. What are they watching? What are they watching on? Give us a clue on that.
Well, they're watching. I'm not. I actually probably don't even need it, but that's all right. Can you hear? Yeah, here we go. They're watching a lot of Channel 7. I'll just put that out there. But do you know what the best possible, I guess, event that happened last year? While everyone was in lockdown, we actually had a census on total viewing behaviour with the Tokyo Olympics, right? So no matter what network that was on, you were going to see an interesting number come through. And what we saw was we reached over 20 million people on broadcast, and an additional 10% on 7+. Now, the reason why I wanted to share that stat was because we had the 2 most populated cities in Australia in lockdown. So it was the best possible way for us to go, what does a modern viewer look like when there's a shitload of content out there and exciting content?
That's a technical term.
It is, yeah, trademarked. So what we're seeing is that advertisers need to keep up with audiences and what their modern behaviour looks like. A modern viewer looks like somebody who is probably a little bit more time poor than they were over the last couple of years, so they want to watch stuff on demand. You'll see with programs like SAS or Maths or Survivor that there's quite an increase in catch-up viewing on the digital platforms. By the way, off the record. Thank God Maths is finished. Jesus.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So what we're seeing is that there's a huge population that want to watch on their terms. There's a huge population that have cut the cord, essentially, buying a new house without a TV in it, without an antenna, and they're choosing to watch on 7+. A lot of them don't know that they're watching their content through a CTV device and through a digital platform. But then we do still have a huge amount of people. All you need to do is look at 6 o'clock every night and how many people are watching a linear broadcast across free-to-air and subscription TV, and it's millions of people still across Australia. And as Rich said, there is no better way to reach millions of people very quickly and to be able to deliver brand outcomes. So Kim, your question was, what are people watching? Well, they're watching a lot of content. They're watching more video content than they ever have before, including SVOD. And there's never been a better time to be in the video market, because when you look at those audiences, they're seeking out new content and they're really, really open to switching brands, which is, I guess, a huge benefit for your clients, because you've got these people in highly engaged mindsets and in premium content going, I want to buy stuff. I've got lots of money saved up. Let me spend. Which is perfect for bounce back.
So Lisa, with all these millions of people watching across big and small screens, why is that important to this group of people? Is it more effective? Is it driving? What do you know about the outcome of those eyeballs?
Okay, can you hear me? Excellent. Thanks for having us again. Look, we know that, to echo what Rich and Nat said, that TV does drive scale at pace and reach at pace. But we also know that television has longer lasting memory structures. So commercials or in-program integration, all of those things, whilst in television, be that linear, streaming or BVOD, does resonate longer, which is fantastic for your clients and your messages. So we do know that on bigger scales, smaller scales, that television works. It does drive sales. It is very effective and very efficient. And it can be on the biggest scale, and I'll plug my own shows for a second, but it can be on the biggest scale.
I didn't know we were allowed to do that.
Oh, you already did. Bigger scale on MasterChef or, on Maths, that it does drive integration and integration does drive sales. We do know that, and we've had 1,000 stats, and they are on the ThinkTV website, so I'll leave that there. But also on smaller scales, if you are trying to access this type of engagement and this type of efficiency, there is a plethora of availability across our channels, but also within our BVOD space can be more targeted addressability. And to everyone's point, BVOD audiences are ridiculously growing, and it's really nice for us to be able to facilitate your message across millions and millions of people rather than just looking at one smaller section of media.
So we actually saw in the latest fact pack about 1.3% of in-home viewing was streaming live TV. So there's math that shows that those numbers are growing. I suppose the question is really the digitisation of the linear feed, whether that be BVOD or through streaming, produces a lot of data and a lot of opportunity. Nev, walk me through what Foxtel's views are, particularly on data and ability to access data, given I'm sure Gay's going to talk about it, what's coming in terms of the cookie apocalypse. Apocalypse.
Is this on? No? Sharing this one? There we go. I was wondering that. I was wondering whether I should push the button. But look, no, thank you, Kim. And look, thank you again for your time. So they've thrown the digital question to the digital native who's learned TV now and can't work the mic. But I think the biggest, we're hearing a lot about data, and everyone here will talk up the stats regarding the scale of their data stacks. I think the biggest question we get is clients going, we don't have a lot of data. How do we actually engage and how do we work with you guys? There's two ways what we look at it. One, some clients will have huge opportunities with data where they gather it, we can merge, we can target. But I think the other way to look at it is how can we provide insights with the data we have on hand to empower your teams to sort of get 2 or 3 points of efficiency, find a placement or content environment that's actually bullseye. We've got so much data on hand, all of us, and we fuse it with, you know, Experian and third-party data sets that we can actually inform the decision-making better. So it isn't just a case of, if you don't have data, you can't be part of those conversations. The question should be, how can you lean in? How can we support your businesses? And how can we actually assist you with your data journey? Even if it's not building a data stack, it's just informing better decisions to be able to target better across TV shows, or more importantly, across the growth in digital. And the growth in IP streaming and live viewing means we have an ability to do things scalable with some sort of insight-led. And I think everyone in the room will agree, if I can get you 10% efficiencies or 10% better targeting or 10% better ROI, that's a big ticket item, and it shouldn't just be overlooked. So if you don't have big data, it doesn't mean you can't do something with it. It just means lean in, work with us, and we can help inform better decision-making.
Okay, now I know we've only got 20 minutes and we run to a schedule. So what I'm going to do is just along the line, starting with Lisa, thinking about the audience we've got in the room, who are obviously representing small and large businesses. What's the one thing from each of you, will come down the line, what's the one thing that you want them to know that will help their clients grow, not using your own network, but using television across BVOD, live streaming, and the linear broadcast? What's the one thing?
I think that probably the one thing that I see that gains great efficiencies is cross-platform buying. So it's not just buying a digital campaign or not just buying a television campaign, it's buying them in totality and together does drive more efficiencies and larger outcomes in engagement. And we've seen it time and time again. We VOZ has launched, we are seeing the incremental reach that brings, and we are working together as an industry and within our own businesses to ensure that not only can you plan, but you can buy it together. So that is coming, and it's coming at pace. But that one thing would be cross-platform. It's just not buying one on its own.
Okay, Rich?
So I'm going to throw a challenge out. So what she said, exactly. The second thing is, and Sam talked about going and getting best practice from around the world. The indies in this country are spectacular. You're advanced, you're big organisations, you do most things really well. There is one area that you lag behind the consortium groups, and that's automation. Certainly with my business, I imagine with everybody else's business, we give you the opportunity to buy audience at scale, guaranteeing outcomes through things like 9 Galaxy or Code 7 or whatever it is. Indies are underdone in that space. And if you want to grow your business, that creates a massive efficiency in administration that you guys are not taking as much advantage of as I think. And there's loads of reasons why you can't. Try and find a reason why you can, because then you can get your people doing smarter stuff, different stuff, and focusing on growth. That would be the challenge I throw out to the IMAA today. Have a look at what you're doing from an automated perspective. We're going to give you all sorts of opportunities to buy cross-platform automated, but step in, start to educate your clients, get them in that space, because if you can do that, that's going to be great for your business, and it's going to be great for theirs as well.
Nat?
What I would say is a little bit of a combination of the two is once you've got your audience-based buying sorted out in terms of broadcast and digital, metro, regional, all that sorted out, look at how you can use CTV more smarter, more effectively, and look at creative that's fit for platform. We've invested quite heavily in our creative area to be able to help you guys and help your clients be able to use the platforms for what they're best at. I think sometimes there's a mistake that CTV is just, and CTV being connected TV, being just a reach extension. That is not the case. There is so much opportunity, and we believe it's the most underutilised platform in the country, and in fact, the world, really. The only CTV platforms or buying strategies that are out there are purely about reach. So there is a really big opportunity to look at those audiences that are growing on live and BVOD content and see how you can create better two-way connections with really high-value audiences that are watching through a digital platform.
So just as an FYI, the stats in the Fat Pack show that there are 66% of homes with, and this is actually unprompted, 66% of homes have a connected TV, and of that, about 45% view live. So that's all in the Fact Pack. we didn't prepare that. I just knew that stat, which I'm feeling quite proud
You're
of myself,
amazing,
really.
Kim. That was a great
Yeah,
stat.
boom. Yeah, no, you can check it. It's true. Nev, what should we do? What should we do to grow our businesses in Indy?
So they put me right at the end, so everyone says all the obvious ones. I think for me, it's test and learn. I think we've got a great opportunity. You don't have to have huge budgets to get an entry point into television anymore. I think if you look at the way live streaming has grown and the ability to digitally insert ads into live broadcast content, which then allows you to better measure outcomes, I think that for me is the cross-platform, everything is bang on, makes sense, but I think you can actually dip in and dip out of actual live TV in a digital world where you've got accountability, measurement, and I think everyone in the room here, I think you guys are so sophisticated in terms of driving ROI and knowing what works, that we're willing to lean in and test and learn more and more. And the digital platforms just is the most obvious because it can be fully tracked, you can be smart, you can do A/B testing. So I think take everything that you've seen and heard there, but there's a great opportunity, smaller budgets that can evolve and grow that as we try and drive business outcomes for you via those platforms.
Thanks, Nev. Well, I'll just get you to sit for a sec because I know we're on time and we've got to stick to time. One of the things we wanted to share today, on top of just some insights on how to grow your client's business, is we understand that not everybody has access to the data that you want to show the ROI. And so ThinkTV launched, I think 2 weeks ago, an opportunity for anybody in the industry. We democratised the data of 60 different models, worked in partnership with a holding company to get the data and turn that into a tool that's basically free on our website. So for any of you guys who don't have, and it's across 10 categories, 60 brands, about $450 million in spend, and it records the ROI. So as we exit, but don't exit until I hit play, you can see kind of a 30-second video. It's free. Use it. Don't use it. Use it to check things. Entirely up to you. But we wanted to make sure that everybody in the industry had access to return on investment data because quite often you want it, but you don't necessarily have it. So this is the media engine. So thank you for having us. We hope you found the conversation useful. The fact pack stats are available and try the media engine. It'll help.